I am trying to learn obedience. I was told by my wife I'm to wear this thing. And then I was told by someone else to wear it, so in obedience to both of you, I have it on. It doesn't feel. Today, we're here. But we're not here. We are, in fact, 2,000 years ago, a long way from here. And today, we stand with this young man. You cannot say West Bank and not think about the West Bank today, can you? And so way back there, this young man came looking for him. Well, what? His parents were political refugees, weren't they? A single mother. This young man comes to the West Bank looking for himself. I take great comfort in the fact that he hadn't done a damn thing before that. And study and read, reflect with that terrible question, who am I? And when he finally asked that question, the answer was, for him and for you, all of it was for you. This little book is called Love Lifted Me because, to write a book and to publish it is like having a child. There is the preconception, believe me. When somebody says, you ought to write that down. Once in a while, it's after a homily. Rarely. But you ought to write that down. And so I wrote a story about 10 years ago, and I sent the story to the editor of a regional magazine, in my view, called Georgia Backroads. I was born and reared in South Georgia. That's why I still sound like Jimmy Carter. And so anyway, into the editor of Georgia Backroads, and I heard absolutely nothing for a year. And so I called him after a year, and I said, a year ago, I sent you this little story. And he said, what was it about? I said, it was about... And he didn't say, great. And then I said, what would you think if I told you I was working in that little story, the archetypes of Adam and Eve? That seems to have got his attention. And then he published it. Now, I don't know about you. Well, in fact, what do you image when I say Adam and Eve? I imaged for years. I don't know where I learned it. Maybe it was in seminary. I'd like to think it was. That it's not about Tarzan and Jane. It's about little children. Evil little children. As I said, I grew up in South Georgia. And if the country people, you could drive out on the dirt roads in the country and pass a house in the summertime, and it was common to see children around with bare feet and no clothes on. I'll tell you a little secret. I did that never outside, but wasn't there by myself. With a young man who found himself on the bank. He came into a world, John, hold it for a second. He came into the world, sin on one side and salvation on. Those are very powerful theological words I think we into. But I don't know about you, but I was born into a sinful world. And I carry memories of those days when terrible things happened. Don't you? If you don't, consider yourself. Because most of us came into a world that was not perfect. And each who dare to dip our hands into the font, because the font is not just right back there. Those are the waters of the Jordan. That when we dip our hand in the font, we should remind ourselves, as Martin Luther did, you have been baptized and you have a Father in heaven. You are mine and you are absolutely sin and salvation. I've just come through my second favorite holiday. My absolute favorite, and get the attention that it deserves, in my view. My favorite is Easter. When Halloween gets the attention and Easter is about a bunny and a basket. Think about it. Sin and salvation. It's all about back there and back then. How far is Walmart when you're taking your life into your hands when you check out? Is Jericho from the Wild West that we live in? Think about it. Think about it. Hope you will. One sure way to lose a congregation is to read to them. Chinaberry lunches. Chinaberry trees are not real trees. Their limbs and branches are easy. Their leaves are tiny little things, and they're bitter. Bent over and having the shape of an overgrown bush, their shade is their berries are edible only when they've ripened, fallen to the ground, soured, and fermented, eaten by blue jays who stagger and fall over drunk to the amusement of small children. Are nearly good for nothing. They grow wild and are never cultivated. Yet, because the grammar school playground otherwise had no shade, red clay bank at the edge of the playground was allowed to grow for a time, offering its meager protection from the noonday sun, stains, and me. We ate lunch there. Somebody asked me when they read that, was that really her name? Stains? It was. Mary Jane was the tallest girl in the second grade, and I was the tallest. She was the thinnest girl, and I was not the thinnest boy. I liked her because she was tall and thin and shy, but no one else seemed to like her, and I didn't know or why. Sponsored school lunchroom had opened with much hoopla at the beginning of the year. Neither ate lunch there. My parents, $1.20, and Frank books, or the cleanliness of the kitchen, and Mary Jane's parents were just too poor to pay. Mary Jane, will you share lunch with me? Did I say, let's lunch? Or want some? I don't remember. I don't remember how I asked. Shade of time day after day and ate and talked. I came to notice that her clothes were not as nice as the other girls, And sometimes her skirt didn't seem to fit, as if it belonged to someone else. And sometimes her blouse wasn't clean, none of which made it. We ate the chicken Mama cooked, or sometimes biscuit sandwiches with butter and ham, and from the blue plastic top of the same thermos bottle. Just before the bell rang at the end of lunch, Mary Jane said, "My mother says that I can go home with you on Friday noon." I said, "Okay, I'll ask my mama." At the end of the school day, when I screamed, "Mama, Mary can come home with me on Friday. Is that okay with you?" Mama's head snapped around and her hands left the wheel of the car before she had time to crank it. In a strained, tight voice that I had not often heard before, she said, "Absolutely not. Mary Jane Staines and her family are not our kind of people. She will not come to our house and you will not play with her anymore. They're just not our kind of people." I don't remember what I told Mary Jane. I don't remember if we ate together again. I don't think so. But I do know that in an instant, I changed. Mama changed. The world changed. I entered for the first time with Mama's introductory prohibition, a world she had long accepted, the harsh world of class, discrimination, and disappointment. 2 years later, when we were in the 4th grade, Mary Jane's father shot and killed her in the living room of their house in what he claimed and the authorities later judged to have been an accident. Somebody said, "That's sad." It is sad. But it happened. And I wrote it because it happened. In part, I hope, to give Mary Jane a voice. I don't know. So you write a book and you put it out. Just like you send a child into the world, you hope good things happen to it, but you're not in control of any of that. And once in a while, people say important things to me when they've looked at the book. One of them said, "Man, your family was really crazy." And they really were. That's why I'm a psychoanalyst. And another person or two, one person here said, and this was for me the best, "When I read your story, it reminded me of my story." See? Now that's good stuff. That's really good stuff. So if you are past the age of, let's just say 60, and one or two of you are, pay attention to where you were, when, and collect all those memories and put them together and realize that you in your life have always been looking for you, and that in fact you were found on the day of your baptism and you hadn't done a darn thing. One of the things that aging offers us is the chance to pay attention to being, not doing. Well, I can't walk like I used to. I can't, they won't let me. Can I? I can't even, well, what are we having for lunch downstairs? Pay attention to yourself. And try to remember that there's never been another you ever. and that the God who fashioned you even in your mother's womb has brought you to life today. And so when you look back, give thanks, not only for your own particular life, but the fact that so long ago, so far from Walmart and so far from Mooresville, there was a young man who accepted and in that acceptance embraced life for you. For into this world of, can I use the right words? Into this world of sin we have come, and toward our salvation we are moving. And all of that is the best expression ever of the power of love. For his belief, his connection with his Father in heaven raised him from all of that, what shall I say, trauma, to a new life, and offers you the hope of Easter.